All right, first up this morning, I think it's safe to say that with the way the world is today, a good dose of humor would be a very welcome thing right now.
Yeah, and starting this weekend, the Museum of Wisconsin Art, otherwise known as MOWA, is opening its new exhibit, Wisconsin Funnies, 50 Years of Comics. There are two ways that you can see this very special display, and Jennifer Turner and Tyler Friedman are here to tell us exactly how. Hi, guys.
Good morning, guys.
Morning.
I see that you are socially distancing, which we appreciate, but it's great to see both of you. I got to hear about this exhibit that's happening, and what I think is also wonderful is how accessible you're making it because it's at 2 locations.
Yep, this exhibit opens this weekend, August 8th, with a grand opening weekend. So we will have a lot of events here at West Bend, including food trucks on Saturday, artist commentary throughout the weekend, throughout the exhibit. And we also will be on view our second exhibit called A Community of Voices.
And the second one, you've got a viewing also downtown, and that's at St. Kate, is that correct?
That's right. So for the first time in MOWA's almost 60-year history, we've split an exhibition between locations. Initially, we had been hoping that the exhibition would coincide with the DNC. Things have, of course, changed appreciably, but the idea was to have an exhibition of politically oriented comics down at the St. Kate, so when all the Politico muckety-mucks were in town, they could see that. And up in West Bend, we have a sort of retrospective of the past 50 years of comics, a more general overview.
I love, Tyler, the political mucky mucks. I like that. I think that's the best term I've ever heard. I like that. Tell us what people can expect, what viewers of the exhibit can expect to see, because you've got a ton of artists and a lot of comics.
There's a broad range. There are 31 artists and about 200 works in the exhibition, which, as the title suggests, cover 50 years, going back to the late 60s and up to the present. Some of the key names, we have Dennis Kitchen right here. Dennis Kitchen is a Racine native, and in the early 70s founded a publishing company appropriately named Kitchen Sink Press, which is really a nationally significant underground comics publisher, and then grew into just a important comics publisher. Dennis was publishing not only the young underground cartoonists, but some old hands like Ernie Bushmiller, who did Nancy, Milt Caniff, Al Capp, who did Lil Abner, all sorts of recognizable names. Linda Berry is also someone people can see. Linda Berry is a professor at the University of Wisconsin-Madison who just last year in 2019 was the recipient of a prestigious, coveted MacArthur Genius Grant. So we're delighted to have Linda's works on display. She has a really acute understanding of child psychology, and so her work delves into the inner life of kids, into relationship dynamics, etc.
That is fascinating. I love all these different works, and I know that you mentioned that there's the artist video commentary, which I think makes it so much more rich in terms of understanding the history. I also wonder how it works, because I know these things are going to be on view through November, and how you're splitting things up between your mothership location in West Bend at MOWA and then the items that will be available to view at St. Kate.
Well, there's a little bit of the overlap. Some artists will be at both locations, but like I said, the material at St. Kate is more politically oriented, whereas up in West Bend, there's a more general grouping. So we have underground comics, some more traditional superhero and science fiction type works. The Badger is a Madison-based superhero. Nexus is a well-regarded science fiction comic. We have graphic novels. Dan Burr and James Vance's Kings in Disguise from 1990 is a much beloved graphic novel. There's a really broad range of works that I think there's something that will appeal to everyone.
So cool. And Jennifer, here's one thing that's pretty cool is there's a lot of other activities going on during the exhibition as well.
Correct. So because of COVID, we couldn't do a lot of in-museum events, so we moved a lot of our events to virtual. And so we start next week, Thursday, with a virtual talk with Dennis Kitchen on Facebook Live. We are doing one in September with Paul Buell, and then we're also doing some really small, very socially distanced in studio art classes where people can learn how to make their own comics or learn about sketchnoting, which is this really cool way to communicate visually. And they can go to our website, wisconsinart.org, to find all the information.
Book available too.
That's right. We produced a exhibition catalog, 244 pages. All the works in the exhibition reproduced in high-resolution, beautiful images. A few essays, one by Paul Buell, who's a comics historian. Another essay on the life and career of Dennis Kitchen, written by Jim Danke, who is also a historian and cultural critic, a longtime friend of Dennis and one of the guest curators of the exhibition.
So cool. You know, Jennifer, I want to ask you one more question, because when you mentioned the classes, especially the sketch class that you said, you know, will be socially distanced, but that'll be in person. I think when it comes to comics, I know a lot of kids are also very interested. Is the class for adults, or can kids also attend that?
This specific class is for adults 18 and older as part of our MOWA Masters segment, but we do have a lot of kids-oriented classes with our Studio Saturdays and Mini Masters, and those are also virtual, and a lot of the themes over the next few months will be comics related.
So cool. I think it's just such a neat exhibit. I'm so excited to hear more and have people attend. So we're going to make sure everybody's got the information. Thanks so much for joining us today, both of you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Make sure you attend the opening weekend of Wisconsin Funnies at the Museum of Wisconsin Art in West Bend. MOWA is unique in that everyone is a member. So your admission fee, as low as $15, is actually a low-cost membership that allows you unlimited visits to the museum for an entire year. Plus, you get access to 175 free for members activities and programs, many of which Jennifer was kind of talking about, like opening weekend this weekend. So make sure you take advantage of that, West Bend, and then also the satellite at St. Kate downtown.